I want to read this article, a couple of paragraphs from this article from NBC News, which will put into context what Donald Trump is doing with SNAP benefits. Three proposed rule changes by the Trump administration could cause millions of poor people to lose access to food stamps and decrease the size of the benefit for millions more, a new study has found. Over the past year, the Department of Agriculture proposed 3 changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP or food stamps. The new rule creates stricter work requirements for program eligibility, caps deductions for utility allowances, and reform the way 40 states automatically enroll families into SNAP when they receive other forms of federal aid. A study by the Urban Institute released this week examined the 3 rules in combination for the first time and found that 3.7 million fewer people would receive SNAP in an average month. 2.2 million households would see their average monthly benefits drop by $127. And more than 3 million others would see an average drop of $37 per month, and 982,000 students would lose access to free or reduced lunches. And I just want to put a fine point on this, the coverage from the Washington Post. They did the numbers, or rather the numbers came out, and they stated that this will lead to the government saving a whopping $5.5 billion over 5 years. Folks, we're getting ready. I keep using inclusive language because they use my tax dollars to fund this evil. So, yeah. They are getting ready to hurt 3.7 million Americans. Take food stamps, SNAP, as well as free and reduced lunches from a total of about $3.7 million. 3.7 million individuals for what amounts to a rounding error in the wealth of Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and the guy from Amazon. His name escapes me this morning, Jeff Bezos. What's more, I mean, there's so many levels of evil to this. But listen, I don't talk. I have been really reluctant. I'm just now this year starting to talk about my childhood growing up. Listen, we were the word for it was blessed. We were blessed, and we didn't realize we were poor. But looking back at it, man, we were poor. We grew up on WIC, women, infants, and children. We grew up on hand-me-downs like clothes that we had to get from neighbors and members of my dad's church. And we also grew up on food stamps. I know exactly what it's like to take the actual stamps and go to the store and use it. And let me tell you something, man. You do it because you bear that embarrassment because the other option is to starve. Right? There are so many families. I can't even express this enough. I can't express it with the right language. There are so many families in this country that are hurting and are impoverished. And I actually want to put a fine point on that. Poverty is so pervasive in this country that even those people who aren't on food stamps because they make just too much to be on food stamps probably need food stamps. All of this to squeeze what amounts to a rounding error in the wealth of the richest people in this country. Setting aside those individuals, this is a rounding error in the defense budget. There's a thought that's been in my head that I have not tried to convey yet. But I'm going to try it here. The reason they do this to millions of people is because they understand that millions of people, these poor people, are generally helpless when it comes to fighting back against this. They don't have lobbyists. They don't have politicians that they purchase. They don't have the ability to pick up the phone and call somebody who can stop this. They don't have the network. They don't have the relationships. They are generally powerless. And so it is easier for the government, for a conservative government, to make a move like this, any government, but right now it's conservatives, to make a move like this that will hurt millions of people versus raising taxes on like 600 billionaires. Why? Because the billionaires have so much power that they can make so much noise. They can make the life of politicians miserable. They can fund an opponent for that politician. So they have, this system is totally reversed. Millions of people who should have the power by virtue of their numbers are helpless, while a handful of people who should be the minority serving us have all the power because they have all the money. And that's why wealth inequality is one of the biggest issues we have to address. And the only way we can address it is if we have solidarity across the classes. We need more people to understand that I don't care if you're making $250,000 a year. You are not rich. You are one sickness away from losing your job. And you're one long-term sickness away from your wealth being stripped away from you because of the exorbitant cost of healthcare in this country. We have to expand class consciousness and class solidarity to include the people who are on SNAP benefits, but also to include the people who are they're just a few checks away. I don't care how big their check is. As soon as that check stops, they are going to need to be on food stamps. Because there are so many more of us than there are of them, of the rich, of the billionaires who control a handful of people who control the destiny of billions. It's time to reverse that.